And obviously, it's just a general comment that every time stock is doing well, the bulls come out and they're all excited. And when the stock is doing bad, then you see the bears come out of the woodworks, and they're, they don't hold back.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, The Bliss Life. Today I'm going to be continuing my Palantir due diligence playlist. So it's going to be a light video today. The concept is bears versus bulls. So it's all about seeing the arguments of both sides, discussing them, and allowing us to ultimately walk away learning something new and being able to make better decisions for ourselves. And I want to give a shout out to the Palantir Technologies Discord community that, I did put some feelers out there and I'm like, oh, what's the typical bear arguments that you have all been hearing? So shout out to Karp, Winnie, Sky, Rat, Tin Can, Most Def, and Cypher R for their ideas. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. So thank you very much. Well, guys and ladies, you never know. All right, so before we get started, let me put my bear face on, get into the bear mode, and let's jump right into it. So the first big argument I have, and I feel like it's not spoken about enough. People do not talk about this enough. If you go in the Discords, if you go in the Reddits, the subreddits, the chats, whatever it is, people just do not talk enough about this topic. And that is, Palantir has never made a profit since 2003, since its founding. It has never made a profit, but the share-based compensation has been so good that the insiders are making hundreds of millions of dollars off of your back. This is a big deal, and it doesn't sit well with me at all. Even in Palantir's disclosures, they say, we've incurred losses each year since our inception. We expect our operating expenses to increase, and we may not become profitable in the future. Like, they don't care. But what they don't hesitate to do, they don't think twice, is issuing those good old options, giving everybody options. You get an option. You get an option. Well, you just started, you get an option. Like, it's insane. Like, where's the respect? Where's the respect to the shareholders? There's zero respect. This slide here, this page here, it was from page 175 of the prospectus. And if you look at here, it says outstanding equity awards at 2019 year end. Take a look at this. 2009, 2011, Alex Karp was given 61 million options and 8 million options at an exercise price of 10 cents and 85 cents, which both expire in 2021. There you have it. That's why the share price got beat down big time. But why? Why was he given so many options? It makes no sense. Like, the company's never made a profit. Like, who are you trying to kid here? It's not right. And if we look at those value, the value of those options today, 10 cent option, 85 cent option, 61 million, 8 million. Total cost to exercise at these prices, it only costs Alex Karp $13 million. Peanuts. If he sold at 20, he could walk away with 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion. And he still hasn't made a profit yet. I don't get it. Now, over 18 years, that's about $76 million a year. Now, over 18 years, that's $76 million a year that he's earned since the company's founding till the year end 2021. But what did he do? What did he do to earn this? Company's never made a profit. If anything, they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. So none of this makes sense. And then here we see the historical stock-based compensation that they spoke about. 248 million in 2018, 2019, 241 million in 2020, 1.3 billion. Makes no sense. They're definitely not putting any respect on the shareholders. And, you know, anybody that says, oh yeah, you know, it's a non-cash expense, who cares? It's a non-cash expense. Like, why are you even stressing? The truth is, it is a shareholder expense. You know, if you gave them cash and then they took that cash and paid employees, paid the directors and executives in salary, it's still a expense. It's still a salary expense. So whether it's a share-based compensation expense or a cash expense, it still has the same impact on the bottom line of the company. The company is not profitable. Shareholders are left worse than they were before the share-based compensation. So I don't buy any of it. Any of it. None of it. It's the worst thing that they could have done to shareholders. And the fact that they do not care about it is very, very disappointing. And then if you look at this is from last year's year-end audited financials. They have a disclosure saying sales of substantial amounts of our Class A common stock in the public markets, or the perception that sales might occur, including sales by our founders and their affiliates, could cause the trading price of our Class A common stock to decline. They're already telling you. They're like, what are you doing? People think that the stock is going to drop because we're all going to sell. Inevitable. As of December 31st, 2020, approximately 134 million options will expire through December 2022, including 66.3 held by Karp, which will expire in December 2021. If not exercised prior to the respective expiration dates, we expect many holders will elect to exercise such options prior to expiration. Upon exercise, the holders will receive our Class A or Class B common stock, and then it may be sold. Well, guess what? Almost all of them always sell. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. So when we look at all of this, you know, SBC, like, man, it's no good. It's no good. I understand if you're a profitable company, you want people to stay, you're making profits, shareholders are happy, the share price is going up, and then, you know, you celebrate with the employees, you give everybody shares options, but you didn't even make a profit yet, and you're getting a bit ahead of yourself, is what I think. And of course, let's not forget about all of these sales that Alex Karp, the CEO, the co-founder, has been doing for the last 12-13 months. Like, yes, I know we just read that, you know, his options are going to expire, so, you know, he should have just let them expire. Not like, you know, he had taxes to pay, a barn to buy, like a house in Switzerland or any of that. It's like, none of this matters. He should have just protected our share price. He should have said, forget what I did for the last 18 years. What matters is the share price. It needs to keep going up. All I care about is short term. You know, that's what he needs to think about. But instead, he just did all this damage, unwound and sold all his shares, and now who's left holding the bags? You are. Shareholder. While bears like us, we have so much ammunition to talk about things like this. You know, to mess with your feelings. Am I messing with your feelings? All right, so second point, and you know, this, my God, nobody talks about this either. The lack of commercial clients. Palantir is so desperate. It's buying revenues now. It's so pathetic. Now look at this article. You know, it's a very credible source. Fast Company from 2016. You know, 6 years ago, but still relevant today in 2022. Palantir has lost major clients like Coca-Cola, American Express, and NASDAQ. More than 1,000 of the company's internal emails and documents were obtained by BuzzFeed. Gotta love BuzzFeed, which reportedly today that high-profile customers had stopped working with Palantir due to exorbitant fees, sometimes more than $1 million a month. And disappointment with its services. And that's not all. More than 100 employees left Palantir this year alone. Of course they did. Now, you know, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because how is Palantir ever gonna get commercial clients if they're charging $1 million a month back in 2016, 2015? With inflation today, maybe it's 25 million. No? Maybe 30? I don't know. Maybe. No, but like, let's say, you know, it was like 1.5 million. How would anyone be able to afford this? Like, why can't they just be like Gmail or Google, you know, where they charge you like $10 a month to access, you know, their photo drive, and or like, you know, Microsoft Excel, they charge you like, you know, $97 a year. How is Palantir thinking it could charge 1.1 million a month? Like, what are they doing? Like, how's the mom and pop shop down the street supposed to get Palantir? Or how's the, you know, that chain restaurant that you always love going to, you know, that 5-chain restaurant that's in downtown on a Thursday night, you know, when you message your friends like, hey guys, want to go for drinks? And they just leave you on red. You go down there by yourself. How is that restaurant supposed to get Palantir? Everybody needs equal access to data, you know? It's not fair. Palantir, too expensive. Too expensive. The next point is, you know, in their Q3 presentation, like, it's amazing. They're like, oh, we went from 2.4 billion to 3.6, 50% increase, a $1.2 billion increase. We're killing it, guys. Right? Right? Wrong. Wrong. You know, a CPA always looks at the details. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna jump right into it. You know, this the finer details. This is where all the fun is. Let's go look at it together. Here, right there, they lay it out for you. Total remaining deal value presumes the exercise of all contract options and no termination of contracts. As if, like we saw what happened in 2016. However, the majority of our contracts are subject to termination provisions, including for convenience. You know what that means, you know? Just call them up. Call Palantir up one day and be like, hey guys. They're like, hey, client, how are you? Like, it doesn't matter. I'm done. I don't want to deal with you guys anymore. Bam. That's it. Convenience. Like, come on. And there can be no guarantee that contracts are not terminated or that contract option will be exercised. Included in the 3.6 billion of total remaining deal value is the following activity during the 9 months ended September 30th, 2021. 640 million of a maximum potential revenue from commercial contracts entered into with corresponding approved investment agreements, less 22 million of revenue recognized from such commercial contracts, plus 218 million of maximum potential revenue from commercial contracts entered into connection with contemplated investment agreements that are subject to negotiation, approval, and execution. You're probably like, what the hell are these guys talking about? You know, what are they talking about? They're talking about the SPACs. They're talking about the SPAC investments. There were SPACs that we knew about, which were called investment agreements. They were firm, Palantir invested, and then there was the contemplated ones. So, you know, if you were following my series, you know, if you weren't, hit the subscribe. But if you were following my series, all of these on top, they're the investment agreements. All of these on the bottom, they're the contemplated investment agreements. So what we know is $640 million. $640 million comes from these clients here. And from what we know so far, we know 129 come from Cellularity, Black Sky, Relevant Science, and Sarcos Robotics. So those four represent 129 in the 640 million. Now the remaining 510 million must come from these four: Faraday Future, Astrocast, Lilium, and the autonomous aerial vehicle company. And based on what we've been seeing, you know, Palantir usually gets the same value or double. And Astrocast is a smaller company. I'd like to think the majority of it comes from these three. And this, my friends, is what the 640 million stems from. And then the 218 million, I didn't get through it yet in my series, but 218 million is shared between these firms. And also this one. This one, I mean, it happened, it's a subsequent event, but this one too. So now go to commercial remaining deal value. They say, oh, wow, look at us. You know, we increased our commercial backlog 100% year over year. Everything is great. You know, I'll celebrate. But if you look, it's the same story. They went from 1.1 to 2.2, but the 2.2 gets shaved down by the 858 in investment agreements, which leaves us with 1342. So the 1.1 actually went up to 1.3. And that, my friends, is just a 22% return. 1342 over 1100, what we saw up there, 22%. 22% gain. Are you kidding me? Like, it's misleading, you know? Palantir's organic growth is so trash. So trash. 15% year over year, 22% year over year. Like, who does that? Another thing is, like, why are they giving companies money? Like, what's the point of that? Why are you giving companies money to buy their revenues?
Why you did that? Why did you did that? Why? No. Why you did that?
It's like, who does that? Like banks? Like banks give people money to open up accounts? Who else does that? Like, you know, PayPal? I think PayPal used to do that, give people money to sign up. Or like Wealth Simple in Canada, they're giving people money to sign up. Or like Amazon giving people money to sign up for credit cards. Like, who does that? It's such a cheap tactic. It's not organic. I want organic. You know? Okay, fine. Yeah, they get shares in a company, but I want organic. I need organic growth. Not this fine text thing. Wait, hold up. Am I messing with your feelings right now? Are you like feeling weird about your investment? Am I really messing with you? That's the point. That's the point of this video. I want you to feel uneasy.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Right, so the third point really is Palantir. Like, who would even invest in this company? Like, nobody likes them. They're an evil company and they have such a bad reputation. Just look at some of the headlines. You know, you don't see anything good about them. 5 reasons to worry about spy tech firm Palantir handling your NHS data. Spy tech firm Palantir made $22 million profit, 22 million pound profit after NHS data deal. How Peter Thiel's Palantir helped NSA spy on the whole world. How a deviant philosopher built Palantir, a CIA-funded data mining juggernaut. Look at this guy, written by Andy Sandberg. Like, this guy, he's good with the ladies, you could tell. Israel-linked CIA-funded Palantir goes public, making espionage mainstream. The war inside Palantir, data mining firm's ties to ICE under attack by employees. After Google dropped a defense contract over employee pressure, Palantir's leaders doubled down on controversial work with the US government. Like, who does that? America's so evil, so bad. Palantir CEO says companies working with US adversaries should justify their position. What is he, you know, who does he think he is, Palantir CEO, going around telling people, tell me why you're in dictator countries, you know, tell me why employees are jumping off buildings and trying to kill themselves in these countries while they make something for your company. I don't know if I'm going off topic, but for another day. But you know what I mean? Like, all of this, clearly, Palantir's, the headlines, is so bad. Like, why would you do this? You know, you should invest in happy companies. Companies that make you feel good. Companies that say, you know, wow, we're doing good in this world. You know, we give you something you can stare at all the time, or something that gets you addicted. You know, when you're a teenager, it makes you feel bad. You know, makes you feel like you're not up to par with everyone else, and then you start feeling, you know, lower self-esteem. But you keep coming back because you're addicted, because the program is designed to make sure you're addicted. You know, why can't they be like that? And you know, the next fourth point that I just can't get over is the business is not scalable at all. It's not scalable at all. They always have to send, you know, their Palantirians or their forward deployment engineers to customer site to understand the customer's legacy systems, to understand, you know, these in-house solutions that they have, these bootleg Frankenstein softwares that they have, to really get the Foundry operating system to pick up, understand all these different sources and put it all together in an understandable way. Like, that takes time. On Palantir, you know, they can't scale. It's not as easy as, you know, sending a USB key or a download button and say, here, download Microsoft Excel. Here you go, you got it. No customization, don't worry. This is just like that, you know. Like, if Palantir can't do that, how fast are they supposed to grow, you know? On top of that, Palantir is so big on dealing with Western allies, the USA and its allies, and it asks all these Silicon Valley companies to justify their position for working with adversaries. You know, I pulled up a map on Google that says, you know, potential World War III alliances, you know, what would be the Western side and the other side. And, you know, like, it's so obvious, like, here, there's Canada, you know, there's US, there's the weird side of US, Alaska, randomly up there. There's, you know, Greenland, so the, you know, the Western allies, you know, the Western Europe side, you know, I don't know, there's too many here to name. You got the Australia, you got a few African nations, you know, you got a few Latin American countries who are, you know, considered strong or weak Western allies. So this is kind of the market, you know. Palantir can't really pivot out of these blue shaded nations because anyone else is considered an adversary. Like, look at Russia, look at China, you know. Like, how is Palantir going to be able to sell their Foundry software to the billion people in China? Wait, what? Foundry is not for regular people, it's for businesses? Oh, okay. Because we all know all these firms coming out of China, they're completely independent and they have nothing to do with China. And Palantir gives them access to Foundry or any other software, you know. Totally fine. Last but not least, like, do you really want these guys to be your leader? Can't get over it. Look at him staring back at us. Yeah, just cashed out $1 billion. Keep my hair curly. I want to. I can. Then, you know, Xiam here doesn't give a damn about color coordination. He wears a purple sweater because he could. And then he doesn't wear a business coat. He wears a business hoodie because he could. We have a special guest here, Ed Sheeran. What's going on? It's like a circus. These the guys you want to trust with your investment? Like, get their backgrounds. Don't even look at what he studied or how many languages they speak or what they've done or their commitment to the company. That's not important. Just look at what he's wearing. He's hanging out with Ed Sheeran. Weird. Do you really want to invest in these guys? I don't know. All right, everybody. So this wraps it up for the bear versus bull series. I've obviously started with the bear case right now. I went through the points that I thought is relevant. A lot of people talk about, and now I'm going to build the bull case. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. You know, if you find anything or you want me to touch on other points, I'll be glad to. All of these points that I brought up in this video are to a certain degree relevant, but to someone who doesn't know Palantir, you know, it's scary when you first hear about it, and it's easy to feel swayed. But when you know the company, then you know, and these things come in one year and out the other, and you just keep marching forward. I will say one last thing though. I can't believe it. I hit 150 subscribers. Like, I'm so close to it. I think I crossed it, but just last week I was at 22 and now I'm at 150. That is crazy. So thank you so much for your support, subscription support, and your likes, and I'll stay in touch. Peace.